Yeah.
Look like you have your hands full, Jenny.
Aton's in the bathroom.
Convenient. 45 minutes later.
Exactly.
I would normally be in San Clemente at a baseball tournament that would finish around 7 o'clock and then have to drive home. But I chose to say no today.
Oh, good for you.
So I'm alone with my dog
Wow.
at home. And I'm
Nice.
and I'm watching it on my phone, so it's not like I'm even missing it.
Hey.
Hi, Abby.
Hi.
Timmy, this is the next gym buddy. She's Romy.
Yes. Hi, Romy.
She's a little crazier though, so we don't bring her yet.
Mhm.
Two is a lot. Two at the gym is a lot. That age especially. Yeah. Oh, worksheet. Thanks, Will. Never do nothing.
Except on Sundays.
Never.
Ever.
Log. Uh-oh. I don't like that word. I log my workouts, but that's about it.
Thanks for reminding me.
No.
We'll give people 2 more minutes while I'm planning the burn workout.
I gotta get my charger.
Oh, God. Ugh. That was unsuccessful. Oh my God, that was extremely unsuccessful. This might Lena. Wow. I wonder if she's gonna like actually show her face.
Is it really Lena?
Is it actually her?
It is, but I'm on my phone and I'm walking around my house trying to like clean. So I'm just gonna listen and see what's happening.
Hey, all my gym clothes are drying on my bed behind me, so like crazy.
I like your drying rack.
Right. Okay. Can't do that. It needs to plug in.
Oh, come on. This usually comes up so easy.
Nami, the first time I saw you sitting there a couple weeks ago, I thought, is she at work and are those X-rays behind her? It's your window.
Mhm. Yeah. Hold on.
Okay, can I just say 100 grams of protein? A lot of food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's crazy about that is, are we recording? Yeah, we're recording. What's crazy about that is like, there's no way. It's if you are eating clean and you're trying to hit your stuff, you can't eat anymore. Like it's so much food. You're just like, I don't want to eat any more food ever again.
Will, is that, I mean, I understand for us, but I have another group of friends that, complain about their weight and stuff. But they're not like in CrossFit and hardly work out or whatever. Would that be too much protein for them? Or is this recommended for people and our activity level, or is that just in general? What we
That's
should?
kind of that's an active person's recommendation, but it's not far above what everyday people are eating. They still have a certain amount of lean mass that they're trying to support. Hopefully, they're trying to do a little bit more than just support that lean mass with even walking, right? I don't know. So yeah, it's not actually far from their recommendation either. I think the lower end is like 0.7 grams per pound of lean of body weight. 0.7.
Wow.
So part of the
Okay.
problem is people like maybe not that they don't eat enough, they may eat enough calories, they just don't eat enough of the right calories. And so they have trouble losing weight, trouble keeping it off if they lose it, things like that. Burn workout has been posted for today. Everyone who came to
Yay,
Burn.
thank you.
I forgot my score though.
Make it up.
I can't even remember what we did. Just said it was really hard and a lot of biking. Yeah. We'll have to-
Okay, I guess we'll get started. 5:08. Everyone's here who's going to probably show up. So let's review the week. I actually didn't like the order of these, I think, and I'll come back. I'll kind of see what you guys think, how your weeks went. So you first. Besides Nami, who's already shared. Cool.
I have
Oh,
something to
easy.
say.
Oh, okay. She's just waiting for everyone else not to say something.
Well, this week was much easier for me to do because I already got brainwashed into doing all these things before. So this week I was ready to do all these things because I already do all these things. So it was cool because I didn't really have to think too hard because even it was one of the easier weeks. The sleep week was hard, and I suspect move generally is not the difficulty for me. So I'm hoping that the items on move will be easy to do as well.
Hmm.
I had the benefit of starting weeks before this though. That's why, Kim.
Yeah, I mean, a lot
It's
of
a lot.
times when you're doing something for the first time, it's the hardest it's going to probably be. Probably. It might get hard some other times, but typically when you're learning, you have these not requirements, these suggestions, for example. Meeting them alone is difficult. And then in addition to that, like you're not used to it. So you have to then learn how to do it at the same time as meeting it. So it makes it very challenging. So I get that. And it's a lot easier when you've been doing it for a long time. You have your go-to recipes that you like. You kind of know how much you can, like, depending on how many times you've done this, you can kind of look at food and, oh, that's probably about this much protein. Oh, that's probably about that much grams of carbohydrates with sweet potatoes. And it's a good thing the second round of this is going to involve weighing and measuring food and getting a food scale and things like that if anyone partakes in that. I strongly recommend people doing that. And you guys are actually kind of already doing it with the protein specifically and the vegetables, which is good. So this is kind of like a nice little a stepping stone towards that goal. So it gets easier is where I'm headed with that.
Yeah. The protein was really a lot. That was a lot. For me, it seemed excessive. I think somebody said it last week, like maybe it was Nami said, or Jenny, having 2 eggs was like really decadent, like
Mommy
that was
said
like
that,
your
yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like I would always only limit myself to one and maybe one egg white or something like that. I would never have 2 eggs because I would think that that's too much fat or cholesterol or whatever, that kind of thing. And not even thinking about the protein. I didn't know eggs were only 6 grams of protein. I always thought they were a little more, but I've learned a lot this week. I came up with this like one breakfast that is so loaded with protein and fiber that I was really proud of myself.
What is
I
it?
just
Sure.
It was yogurt. It's this yogurt I get from Costco. I don't even know how long they're going to carry it. It's not Greek yogurt, but it was another yogurt. It has like cow on the front. It's a plain, cleaner yogurt,
It's like A2 something,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. So I measured whatever it said on the back. I did I measured like 3/4 cup of that, and then 2 tablespoons of flaxseed or ground flaxseed, a scoop of the collagen protein. So I mean that I'm just like poof, like loading with the protein that way. And then what else did I put in there? Blueberries. Oh, and granola. But I only did like a third or a half of a serving of granola in there, and then a little bit of honey, and it was so good. But I
Yeah,
mean, I
that's
was full for so long.
great. Yeah, protein aids in satiety as well. So it's
Yeah.
not just the fiber, it's the protein that keeps you fuller longer also. What's
Yeah.
cool about that is one of the, I think it's, yeah, in Atomic Habits, they talk about this a lot. They basically talk about, oh, I don't want to misspeak. Let me see.
I actually put it in my protein pancakes today too. I added the collagen powder, the collagen protein, and the flaxseed to my 2 eggs and 1 banana high protein pancakes that I do. And it was actually really good. Like I didn't even notice it. So you get
Nice.
protein and fiber that way.
Collagen protein mixes pretty well with coffee as well.
The chocolate,
I
especially.
put that in my coffee. Yeah.
I can't do it, guys. I
Really?
tried, and years ago when you said that, Steph, and I got the chocolate one, and I'm like,
Is it too like chemical
Yeah.
tasting?
Mm.
I guess I have like low standards.
Yeah, I kind of get that too. I don't really care that much. So there's a lot of like things that I have just.
Okay, do you
It's
guys
like-
do the vital proteins though?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
mean,
found one that mixes, it's unflavored though, and it mixes even better. And it's called Great Lakes.
Where do you get it from? Amazon?
They have little ones. Yeah, I get it at Amazon because I buy like a huge one and it lasts me like 6 months or something. But they have little ones at Trader Joe's if you want to try it out.
I got the Optima one at Costco last time.
It's collagen?
Yeah, but
Okay.
I need to get more. I don't, you know how Costco is. Sometimes they
Yeah.
get these and you don't know if they're ever going to have it again.
The Vital plain was so disgusting to me. I couldn't handle it. Like I used to add it to oatmeal and like things that were hot so it would dissolve, and it just, but then I think that the difference, the comparing chocolate versus plain of the same brand, it was such an improvement for me. I was willing to
Mhm.
accept it.
when I put
Funny,
it in
Stephanie,
hot
that's
things,
the only thing I can do because it has no flavor. I hate flavor.
yeah, I don't want the flavor either, but it gets what's the word? Like clumpy or like chewy in my
I can
oat.
only put it in hot things and then wait for it to dissolve. Like I couldn't do collagen in something cold because it doesn't dissolve for me, or I never could figure it out.
Hmm. Right now I have my little, with my afternoon snack, of those rice cakes and almond butter and a little drizzle of honey, which is incredible. I put this, like a greens powder. I put some fiber Metamucil orange supplement, and then I put unflavored collagen protein in it. Works pretty good. I don't notice, I mean, if you let that fiber stuff in particular sit, it will clump.
Mm.
And so I just leave it in a shaker bottle, and whenever I'm gonna take a sip, I shake, 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 and it tends to be pretty, is the word homogeneous? Is that a good word?
Mm-hmm.
Your Metamucil, you put in a shaker bottle?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Otherwise, it's so thick. Like if you,
I put a lot of water with it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
haven't used
Isn't
salt.
it so to help you poop?
Yeah.
everybody poops, Sandra.
Yeah.
I know, but William has no problem pooping. And I'm
So I agree. This is a test run to see if it helps me feel any better or worse, calms stomachs down or up. I don't know. I don't care. I'm just testing it out, see how it is. Once I started logging my stuff in my Fitness Pal, I noticed that I wasn't actually eating enough fiber because it wants me to eat like 45 grams of fiber, something crazy. And then I was looking around after I saw that. I was like, there's someone I kind of, two recent posts have made me question this person, but I tend to believe this person for most things. And he's like, he eats like 100 grams of fiber a day. I'm like,
Ooh. Well, some people are more clogged up than others.
no, this guy is clean. Like clean as a whistle clean. Like if he's eating 100 grams of fiber a day, he's like,
What's
it
daily?
Fruits and vegetables, or is it a supplement?
it's both.
What's daily recommended? 45, you said?
No, like
I
a
don't
lot
know.
of people recommend
I
like
think it's
20 to
28.
30 for
Oh.
men. So it's like, that's a lot. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. That's kind of why I wanted to test it. So I want to kind of get an idea because I actually haven't paid much attention to fiber in the past. And I kind of wanted to get a sense of where I feel comfortable and if I start to notice stuff above or below a certain threshold, just so I can speak to it if someone asks.
Is this
I'm-
that blonde guy, Will?
Yeah.
Okay, I know.
Raspberries are a good source of fiber. They have more than other berries, I think.
You know, it's also a really good source of fiber. Tree bark.
Broccoli.
I'm just kidding.
Paper.
Paper.
Chew a lot of paper.
Flaxseed, chia seeds.
Yeah,
So-
seeds for sure.
I like to eat a lot of stuff with fiber in it and just to be full. But sometimes, depending on the source of fiber, can be too much fiber. Like,
Yeah.
meaning it's too aggressive on your digestive system to have like, or like flaxseed. If I would have too much flaxseed, it is like too much for my delicate digestive system to handle.
So, basically the thing that I think I'm gonna change here, I think I'm gonna put 800 grams of fruits and vegetables a day before the protein. Because I think 1 gram per pound of protein per day should go after add 1 protein forward meal a day. Because I think having that as the check mark after like 3 different things, you already realize by that point that you cannot, most people are not getting anywhere close to enough protein. So I think by adding at least 1 meal per day first and then seeing you're still probably not getting enough, it might make a little bit more sense. So
That makes sense. I think
that's my kind of thought process on that for the next time.
I would
Is
think
anyone reaching their protein goal without using protein shakes?
No,
Like just from food?
I'm not. I can't eat enough.
No.
So
Do you
what do you
not
do
like
if you
shakes?
hate? Yeah.
eat more chicken.
I switched out eggs for chicken, so now I have chicken tacos for breakfast.
Or you put eggs and chicken. So one trick, I think Kim said it. One trick to this kind of thing is like stacking proteins. For example, instead of just chicken or just eggs, you do 1 egg and chicken, whatever amount of chicken. Like eggs are not. I don't know about you, but eggs don't fill me up at all. I could eat a dozen eggs and not be full.
Mhm.
Certain foods, I don't like notice the fact that I ate them. Similar to the collagen powder in the yogurt, right? You probably are not getting full off the collagen, powder in the protein, or collagen powder in the yogurt. You could probably do, instead of whatever brand you're using, the 10 to 20 grams, you could probably throw in a whey scoop also, or something like that. And you probably wouldn't notice it much, but it's a sneaky way to get in that maybe without, in case you don't like drinking those shakes, Lena, it's a sneaky way to get them in.
Okay.
That's one thing I used to do before. So I would get that zero, like fat-free Greek yogurt. So it's like really thick. And then the Ascent whey protein in like really interesting flavors. So not chocolate, but like I would get strawberry, or like I think lemon would probably be good. Like flavors that are sort of fruit flavored. So I would take strawberry, the powder, and put it in the Greek yogurt because it was plain, stir it up, and then I would get like basically strawberry yogurt, but it was with the extra protein in it.
Oh, that sounds good. I have the
It's a good
lemon.
idea.
The lemon one's pretty good as a drink, but
They stopped carrying it.
oh, the lemon?
Yeah. Elisa bought all of the gym's supply of it.
She bought
as
it
well.
all. I think chocolate would be a little weird with the tart of the Greek yogurt, but some like fruity based probably would taste better. And like it didn't really, I mean, you also have to kind of like be willing to accept the flavor isn't as delicious as if you put like real strawberries in there or something, or add real strawberries. if
Or
it
you
tastes
add
better.
real strawberries or
Yep.
some other
Yeah,
sliced up fruit to mix to cover it.
Put
The
some-
vanilla flavor is also not bad with the yogurt if you add real fruit.
Because I'm still having trouble getting enough protein, even though I switched it out and I like really tried to get at least 30 grams per meal. So I had to add chicken everywhere.
I
And then,
only get it by eating meat. Like meaning
Yeah.
I can it's like the best bang for like you don't have to eat a lot of meat. I mean not red meat, and so also like lean meat, because if you ate a 12-ounce ribeye, it's probably too much fat. So you got a lot of protein, but you also got a lot of fat in that one steak.
yeah, I bought the chicken breast fingers, and the package I bought, I wasn't doing it on purpose, but it was a pound and then there were 8 fingers in it. So I'm like, okay, so I divide this up. So it's a 1/4 pound per serving, 2, fingers. And so I added, so that helped, but because I really like eggs for breakfast, but it's just not enough.
So another thing is when you're starting this, you're not used to eating this way either. So it
Oh.
will take time for you to adjust and your body to get used to eating what your brain body thinks is more food, when in reality it may be potentially, hopefully, you were already eating and maybe you're just changing what the composition is. You're not adding a meal, because that makes it a little bit more challenging, but it will get easier again. And another I think a little trick tip to that is if you normally eat like I don't know how to describe it size wise, but basically like adding 10% more meat per meal. If you're already eating like 4 ounces of chicken breast, eat 5. You probably won't notice the difference much. And especially if it's tasty, like Kim's breakfast thing, that sounds awesome. It makes it relatively easy to do, and you're already eating, so it's like, it makes it a little bit easier to get it down. And an
Yeah.
extra ounce or 2 of chicken is a lot of protein. I mean, a lot.
It is also hard to stop and eat another meal.
Right, like especially if you're already at like 4 meals, you're used to eating 2 and now you're at 4, you're like, no way, I cannot eat another meal. So just find a way to add an ounce or 2 of extra meat or high protein something, if you can. What?
Where is this from?
I just started eating cottage cheese and I actually was pretty impressed by it. I thought I would hate it, but I'm like, oh, this actually tastes good.
You eat it just plain, or do you put something on it?
So I was eating it with like crackers, but I would love to hear any ideas of what you guys eat it with that's like low carbs, higher protein.
I can't decide whether I like it or not yet. I'm
True.
on my
I think
third.
the right brand. Because
You can-
Newton is gross.
Newton is gross.
It's so thick and like heavy, but there's some like even but the Trader Joe's one I don't know if it's still in the green and white container. That one's good. It's not as heavy. It's not as pasty. But some of them are super pasty. If you could find some that are like a little bit looser, those are much more palatable and easier to, I don't know.
Yeah, the one I got was from Trader Joe's, but I don't remember the container. It was really yummy.
Yeah, like
I
I think it's low fat.
I don't like to rely on Trader Joe's or Costco for things because you go back and they don't have them.
Yeah.
Well, I think they've had this one for a long time, that one, the green.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Well, we
I can't,
tried to buy the vegetables today. They don't have them.
I can't decide whether or not the cottage cheese is better complemented with a sweet or a semi-savory add-on.
Mm.
I've
Both.
seen-
Sweet.
Oh,
You
Not
think
at the-
sweet?
I'd rather, so like, I would rather have,
Mm.
Italians eat ricotta cheese, and I think cottage cheese is supposed to be like the low budget, not low budget, but like the fake version of ricotta cheese. And
Yeah.
it's eaten as like a dessert,
Oh,
slightly
okay.
salty, but with fruit or honey or nuts, and it's like so freaking good. But the
Mm.
consistency and flavor is so much better than cottage cheese.
Maybe that's why it hasn't really stuck. Like I'm kind of forcing myself to do it, but I'm just like,
Will, put the cottage cheese on your rice cake. and
yeah, I
then
do that.
sprinkle-
That's what I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
And
maybe a little
then-
honey.
The savory way that I eat it is with tomatoes and then I add a little bit of salt.
Oh,
Ooh, I like that.
that would be, if you have really good olive oil too, and then like salt and pepper on top of that.
I literally saw a recipe today for that. It was like a caprese salad type
Right,
thing.
a little bit of basil.
Instead of the mozzarella cheese, the base was cottage cheese.
Mm.
So they used cucumbers and tomatoes and basil, salt, pepper, olive oil.
that could be okay.
That sounds delicious.
I'll send it to the group. I
Geez.
saw it on Instagram. I was like, yum, that looks good.
Would you say cottage
Cool.
cheese and yogurt?
All right, and then the palm, fist, thumb, hand, cupped hand, that's essentially, I think it's a really good way. Beyond, we don't always eat at home, right? We don't always most people don't even measure their food, let alone go to the level that we've even gone, and we're barely scratched the surface with this thing. But a good way to like kind of start thinking about food is like a hand is actually a decent way to measure stuff. If you're like on the run, for example. And I put that in there. I didn't say this last week and I meant to say it's a good way to kind of help control portion sizes when you are out eating.
Mhm.
The palm portion control. So if you have a tendency to eat out often, that's a decent way to kind of control the portions. And then like it will probably, most places that you go will have like 2 servings of 2 meals worth of food. So this kind of gives you more permission to put that other half away and take it home with you. Okay, anything else about the eat week?
Nami, you look like you had a question, what you were just asking.
Oh, I was just asking about yogurt versus cottage cheese. Is there a benefit to cottage cheese?
I don't know.
I think it's
Flav-
higher in protein. If you read the label, it's actually even higher than Greek yogurt.
Lena, look for, so I can't eat cottage cheese anymore, but I think between the two, when I was eating non-fat Greek yogurt, that tended to be higher in protein than cottage cheese.
Oh, really?
Look at the serving size and then look at the fat in what, like, look at the other stuff and what that comes along with it, the carb and the carb and the fat
Fat.
combined with the protein that you're getting. Because maybe you're getting 20 grams of protein, but you're getting other stuff with it, where like on the
Yeah,
yogurt.
and I
they
actually
get-
like the full fat too. So I'm
Yeah,
sure
of
I'm
course
getting a
you
lot of
do.
fat.
Everyone loves the full
That's
fat.
the tastiest one.
Yeah, I don't know. And actually that was one of I was hoping to get to the grocery store today. I literally have, when I turned this Zoom on, it was me getting out of the shower from being gone and working all day. So my goal was to check exactly that question actually, because I'm not completely sold on cottage cheese. I haven't eaten cottage cheese and I can't even remember the last time I bought any besides this past few weeks here. But I'm like, I want to try it. Maybe I like it. And it just hasn't done anything for me one way or the other. So I have to figure out if I like yogurt or cottage cheese better.
I think it depends on what you're eating with it too. If you're eating cottage cheese or yogurt, what accompanies with it might get you more other nutritional benefits. One or
That's a
the
good point.
other you eat it.
My goal, whatever I settle on, is simplicity. So like, if it nothing against the caprese cottage cheese thing, but it's very unlikely that I will consistently slice tomatoes, cucumbers, drizzle a little bit of balsamic, like it's unlikely. So basically what I'm looking for out of that stuff is as simple a snack as I can put together as possible. So whatever it ends up being, that's going to be the winner.
If you, I will say, if you get the right cottage cheese, and it might take some dabbling, you might have to find the one that works for you because they're not created equal. Because I've been eating cottage cheese for years and I go in and out of it. But when I first started doing it, when I first got married, I taught my friend, you can have a glass of wine, but you have to have some cottage cheese with it. like literally, like that's what I would tell people. Like you have to balance your carbs and your protein. But you have to get the right cottage cheese. So find the cottage cheese that works for you and you'll be able to, because you can just literally eat it right out of the container. And if you find the right one and it's good enough.
I do that.
Hannah
with the
says she
new
puts it on
thing.
her sweet.
What's that?
Lena first.
Oh, I was gonna say Hannah says she puts it on her sweet potato. I haven't really tried that yet, but it sounds pretty good too.
Yeah, it kind of has I tried it. That was actually what I tried first, and it did not stick. I don't know if she does it differently. I tend to buy white sweet potatoes versus the yellow, purple, yellow, orange ones. So it might, the texture might be a little bit different. So I don't know. But it's supposed to essentially be kind of like a baked potato. It's like sort of sour, creamy, and fatty on top of the carb of the sweet potato. It sounded good.
Sounds like it might be good.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at the further action down at the bottom. I didn't realize what time it was. Weigh and measure your food. So basically the next steps, like if you check marked all of this stuff and you're like, yeah, heck yeah, and I've got this no problem. The next level would probably be MyFitnessPal, and we will do that in the second round of this after these first 6 weeks. And then one of the weeks is basically quality. The next week is quantity. The next week is weighing and measuring. The next week is timing of that food. So like there's kind of a progression in terms of how you attack that stuff. Cooking your own food is almost always superior because you know what oils you're using, you know how much oil was used to cook the food. That's a sneaky, when you go out to eat, there's one of the reasons why it's so delicious because they put a bunch of oil in that and a lot of salt. Not to say that salt's bad, not to say that oil's bad, but butter and things like that. All that stuff has its place, all in moderation though, right? So cooking your own food is almost always superior unless you're just tired and you want someone else to make you food.
Or unless you put a lot of butter and a lot of oil, because you know how to make it taste like the restaurant.
Fair. Fair.
I'm an a-hole, and so when we go to Benihana, which we tend to go for like any family birthday, I ask the server to make all my food with very light oil and salt, and they do it. So because otherwise they'll like just drown it in oil. I just don't like the heavy oil on the meat that's being grilled. It just I like, especially a meat like steak, it already has oil, so I don't need. And if you're gonna put garlic butter on it, put the garlic butter, but I don't need cooking oil in addition to the garlic butter. So I just ask, and then they do it, and it's fine. It actually tastes way better, and it doesn't taste as heavy. So sometimes, like depending on the restaurant, and then like Asian Chinese food, there's so much oil in Chinese food, like crazy, like disgusting amount of oil that they use to stir fry. But it like we'll ask for no starch. So we'll ask them, even if you're ordering out, we'll say, can you cook it without cornstarch? And then it doesn't have, at least it's just sauteed vegetables. And we'll say easy oil, easy salt, no cornstarch, and they'll do it.
Yeah,
So you can.
I actually didn't even think of that. You can ask, I'm sure, and they will whatever they were going to do, they will do some amount less. It may not be what you would do at home if you were in complete control, but it's still better than, because you're already out, you were gonna eat, you're not gonna be a stick in the mud who's not participating in the social thing that you're doing, right? So that's good.
Or you can ask for sauces on the side.
Or yeah, dressings on the side, sauces on the side.
Have you guys
Yeah.
been to Sweet Green before?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that place is delicious.
Yes. Yes.
So good. But I'm like, you mix it. I don't want to put all the dressing on back there because I want all.
It doesn't count if you don't see it in a cup.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Put it doesn't count. Oh,
Okay, cool. Let's switch gears here. Let's go on to the move worksheet. Where is my move worksheet? Right here. Okay, so nothing, the first two shouldn't be a surprise to you. Never do nothing. So basically the idea is even on your like true off days, I'm not saying you have to, but your body appreciates if you go for a little walk or you do a little stretch or you do something, right? To just kind of get like basically get some blood flowing, check in on your body, see how it's feeling, move around a little bit. Your body heals. Well, we'll come back to that. So anyway, never do nothing. Number one is always plan, like do your best to plan ahead so that you can get you can be the most successful you can be, getting to the gym or knowing that you aren't going to get to the gym this day. So what do I need for the home workout that day? If I don't even have the option of doing the home workout, could I figure out a way to do 50 burpees and 50 sit-ups or something like that in my hotel room? Like planning's a big deal. Makes it a lot easier if you've already decided you're going to do something, for example, when you're traveling, then waking up and hope and like waiting for your willpower to say the right thing, to do the right thing for you. So planning is a big deal. Consistent movement schedule also is a big deal. Similar to your eating and your sleeping habits, your hormones have a cycle. And the more it can kind of stay consistent, the more to an extent, the more you'll get out of your training sessions, for example, the more you'll get out of the rest of your day, because you kind of have an idea of where, like I personally hit an afternoon slump around 2 to 3 p.m. that if I don't take a nap, it's the perfect time to take a nap. I will fall immediately to sleep. I'll wake up like 30 minutes later without an alarm and be like, had a cup of coffee, feel that kind of fresh. If I miss it, it means I'm going to be cranky pants for the rest of the day, and I'll probably have to shut down around 7:30 or 8 p.m. And I just know that. And it's because I'm pretty consistent with my schedule. Now, I understand consistency is tough, especially when you have children, you've got different. I've kind of designed my life in a way that allows for a lot more of this stuff, I think, than it makes it easier than most people's lives. Because I'm sort of on my own schedule. I understand that. But anyway, consistent movement schedule as much as possible.
Artie,
And then the very first one behind that is intentionally active every day.
Grandma, Artie, it's Grandma. Does he hear me?
He hears
Artie.
you.
Grandma?
I think he sees you too. Do you
Look
see
at
all the dogs, Artie? He's wagging his tail. He definitely sees you.
That's funny.
He watches TV. He's crazy.
Yeah. He does watch TV and he participates.
Mm-hmm. This one, the move week, I actually think is arguably the least important for most of the people that would be on this call, because you guys all are relatively active at the gym, varying extents of that, right? So it's not that big a deal. So I tried to pick some stuff that like maybe you wouldn't think of on your own without this. So intentionally active every day. Now notice it does not say work out every day. And it doesn't say anything about duration. It doesn't say anything about intensity. It basically just means intentionally active. Like what we should potentially, that could be like going for a walk after dinner on the days you don't work out or something like that. that is intentionally active, but it's not meant to be exercise. And we're going to come back to that idea next week in the recovery week.
Oh.
But anyway, intentionally active. So whether that means going to the gym and doing ROMWOD, whether that means going to the gym and working out, he's staring at me because we went on a 45-minute walk. Then we came home and played Frisbee for 30 minutes. And then he played with Gwenny for another 15 to 20 minutes.
He
That's
didn't
why
need a
he's-
nap after
That's-
that.
He won't lay down.
Huh?
He won't do it.
This guy hasn't moved all day. This is all he does all day.
Oh my God. That's why Artie's so skinny. He just won't stop.
Yeah. He's like the ultimate ADHD kid.
Don't bark at me. Shh. No. Get out. Get out of here. He's gonna start barking at me. Anyway, so that's that. Log everything. I only put that because besides, most of us are pretty good at logging on Beyond the Whiteboard. Jackie, are you listening? Or are you able to talk?
Able to talk. I just got home, but I was driving earlier.
Okay. Do you have Beyond the Whiteboard, by the way? I keep meaning to ask you.
I don't think so.
Okay, I'll add you right now. So logging everything, not because I care about what your scores are or how much work you did or when you were intentionally active, what you did for it. The point is to make sure that you are trying to stay active to some form or fashion every single day. And the fact that you're logging it makes it a little bit more likely. Oh, I didn't log it yesterday. Oh, I didn't do it yesterday, kind of a thing. Like it incentivizes people to maybe potentially do it. That's kind of why I put that up there. Minimum of 4 training days a week. I couldn't decide. So I don't know if you guys, let me see who's here. What do you guys think the average attendance of the gym is? Like per week.
Person days of the week.
Per person days of the week, yes. What do you think the average attendance is?
3 days,
3.
3.
At VCF.
At VCF,
Okay.
3.
2.3.
Do
Oh,
they
that-
do other things besides go to the gym?
Not all of them. And that number, that's actually a fib. It was that. It's actually a little bit better, and we're a little skewed with the way that we've done attendance. But anyway, I didn't write in minimum of 4 or minimum of 3 training days per week. Minimum of 3. That's what I said. Because the less days that we see people, the less capable and confident I feel in our ability to move the needle for the reasons that the people are there.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it harder for us to help people achieve the things that they're there for, I guess is what I'm thinking.
Us meaning the management, like the gym.
The
as a whole.
gym, the more we get to see people, the more likely we get to interact with them and move the needle forward for them. So
Yeah.
And
Are you talking in terms of programming?
if Thammer doesn't show up to the gym,
Where is he? I haven't seen
He's
him in
sitting
so
next to me,
long.
by the way.
I was
Hey.
hoping he was sitting next to you. If Thammer doesn't show up to the gym, there's nothing we can do to help improve his fitness.
Don't put the camera on me.
Right. He's like, don't put the camera on me.
But for real, like the point is, the more days we get to see people, the more chances we have
I'm tired of
we at the
cooking.
gym have to help people move their fitness forward. And that's our job. One of our jobs is to help people move their fitness in a positive direction.
Our meaning VCF staff.
Correct.
Okay. Well, or I didn't know if you also meant as community members at VCF. It is also our
In addition,
responsibility.
the community members at VCF, you're also kind of responsible for your classmates and potentially your significant others that aren't showing up to the gym, like those kinds of things. Like in reality, I'd love to make everybody in the gym as healthy and as fit as possible. But if it stopped there, that would kind of suck, right? our goal, hopefully, by making ourselves, me included, not just the staff, but like the gym community as a whole, hopefully by making ourselves more capable, fitter, stronger, healthier, faster, fitter, we either influence the people around us or maybe potentially get them to come back to a gym, for example. Stephanie Thomas, right? You know, like
Check your messages, Will.
I know I read them.
Okay.
That's kind of our job as a community, is to try and help other people, maybe not at our gym, but like get to a gym, find something that you like to do, so that we kind of keep moving everyone's fitness forward, and hopefully we'll.
But also if
that.
you motivate your friends and family to go, and maybe if you have a problem staying consistent, having a friend or family member that does it with you will help you stay consistent. So
Infinitely easier. The more people that show up to our classes every day, the more likely more people will show up more consistently. Like, I'm sure some of you, all of you have probably experienced a class where you were by yourself with me. And you're like, God, this is the worst thing of all time. No, I'm just kidding. But like for
walk
real.
out the door.
Yeah, exactly. When people are like, show up and it's like one person, or you only see one person checked in, you don't even show up. You're like, I'm not showing up to that class. Right. So,
Or when I know, like, I'll speak for myself. Sometimes I'll see programming and I'm like, I don't want to do that. But I'm like, I get to see my friends in class, and okay, I get to move and I can just half-ass the workout that day, but I got to see my friends. So
yeah.
for me, it's not always about like what I got to do in the workout, because if it was solely the programming, there would definitely be days I'd cherry pick out if it was just me doing it.
Yep. Yeah. So
And
there's
then there are days where you show up to the gym and Will changes the workout and you're like, oh my God, I can't do this.
Well, good thing
Like
you
today.
go to see your friends and you don't go to cherry pick workouts.
yeah. She's
Right.
referring to today where she almost fainted.
Oh no.
She didn't almost faint. I actually think today's version of the workout was significantly easier than the other version would have been. Both were hard. I do not
It was
say,
just a lot of lifting, Will.
I'm not. Did you see the other version?
I did. I thought it was easier, but maybe
It was
it's not. I don't
60
know.
heavy thrusters. How is
Wasn't
that
it
easier?
wasn't it a partner workout? Could
Yes.
you
It was
just
a
make your
partner
partner
workout.
do all the work?
Did you
No,
look
we split it, but still.
Yeah, Katie Franzio, who is like cleans not actually twice as much as Lena, but like, because Lena's gotten a lot better and stronger, and Katie Franzio hasn't been as consistent. But that's not true either. She actually just PR'd. But anyway, they split the work evenly of that workout this morning. Katie Franzio should have been doing like 60%, and you
A
should
lot
have been doing
more.
40%. But
Yeah.
whatever.
She was being fair. Lena wanted her half.
Yeah.
well, don't
So
look,
anyway, the more days you show up, the better the whole situation is for everybody. That's where that kind of comes in. Minimum of 3 to 4. I 3 to 4, fine.
But don't you, on the 3 to 4 thing, like on the changing my mindset of what is exercise for me in my life? Is exercise something I squeeze in as a, like, it would be nice to get a massage occasionally or get your nails done or your hair done? No, it's something that needs to happen very regularly and be built into my daily routine. It's not like a 3 days a week means there's 4 days a week that you are not doing it. So why would you want to only have it be less than half of your weekdays doing exercise? Shouldn't it be? Or you're talking about like actual, like an hour of a CrossFit class?
I'm talking about training. So
Okay.
that's where we're headed next. That's why intentionally active every day is the first one. I
Okay.
don't necessarily care about training, exercise for training every day, because especially as we get older, I don't think we need that much. I think we need more restorative stuff. So responsible training, what does that look like? 60% of the time, and I've seen these numbers plus or minus, but pretty much right around these numbers, a lot of different areas, not just like fitness and exercise. 60% of the time, you're dedicating to essentially practice. 30% of the time, you're quote unquote training, like trying to push your fitness forward, but you're still within the realm of like, I'm still relatively in control. It's hard, but I'm not like going crazy. And then 10% of the time, testing, like competing, like your score on the whiteboard is a direct reflection of who you are as a person. Like that kind of intensity and effort, 10% of the time. So if you think about this, if you have, let's use I think I chose 4 actually for this math to make it a little bit easier. Let me see if that math's right. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, how many training sessions, if you're training 3 days a week, do you have per month? How many training sessions?
13, I don't know.
Give or take. Yeah, 13, give or take, right? So with those like 60, 30, 10, that 60, 30, 10 idea, how many training sessions, let's say, CrossFit sessions per month are you testing? Like going ham, score is everything.
1.
1.5.
Once a month?
1 session a month if you're training 3 days a week. Like everything you got, the hardest you can possibly give kind of effort.
Like CrossFit Open.
Like CrossFit Open, perfect timing for this. Like yesterday's workout, especially yesterday's workout, actually, very simple, very easy to really, really let go and see what you could do. Versus Amanda that we did a couple weeks ago, that workout for almost everybody is a practice workout. You're literally just practicing movement. You might get a little bit of breathy, but it's not there is no opportunity because we are not strong enough, consistent enough, practiced enough to be able to move with like the intensity that like as a testing intensity on that kind of a workout. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So you have to be strategic about which days that you're training, testing, practicing.
Right. So
And
most-
it's individual to the person.
it is individual to the person and their skill level. So this is tough. And it's partly our job it is a large majority of our job as coaches, but it is also your job, our job as athletes to kind of be cognizant of that stuff. For me, I don't think, let me think about this. Unless it's like I'm feeling really, really good on a day that's like burpees, toes to bar, and a salt bike. Very simple skills for me. Almost every other scenario you could possibly put together is barely practice. It's like fluctuating right between practice and training. Like that's where I spend most of my time in classes and doing workouts. I very, very, very rarely, I probably don't even follow this 10% rule. I'm probably like less than 5% of the time actually testing what I'm capable of. And once I started doing that, I don't know if you guys remember a few years ago, I was hurt a lot. Like I got hurt every 3-4 months. Something else was wrong. My shoulder, my back, my knee, my hip, my ankle, my calf. And it's because I was training way too hard. And I wasn't doing enough to recover. And so I've like completely flipped my mindset on what exercise really is and needs to be. Specifically, like, what's the hardest thing you will ever do in your everyday life? Like physically demanding thing.
The open.
Aside from the gym.
Getting
Like-
something heavy down it from the rafters in the garage or something like
How
I just
heavy is heavy from the rafters?
that. I don't know. like 50 pounds or something like that.
What do you have in your rafters? A dead body?
Christmas ornaments, probably.
I don't know. Yeah, like
I was
decorating.
gonna say Christmas tree.
Okay, fine. You
I
should
just
be
helped
putting
Jason
that.
install a TV yesterday, and I had to stand on a chair and put it up really high, and it was heavy and oddly shaped.
Okay,
And I thought he's really lucky that his wife is strong.
Right.
okay. So I guess that kind of backfired, but kind of didn't. So essentially, were you capable of doing that?
Yes.
Okay. Where I'm headed with this is there's an account I follow called Active Life RX or something like that. I don't know. He's a chiropractor that he owned a CrossFit gym. Basically, a lot of people who've been around since the inception, like real like craze of CrossFit and beforehand, have not backed off, but like intensity is it is often put in relative intensity, and specifically appropriately relative intensity. They've kind of like pulled back on the fact that they're trying to get people to puke every single workout. That's not a thing anymore. And most of the like it makes sense, right? We don't need to go that hard every single day to prepare ourselves for our everyday lives, right? We need to be very capable of sitting down, standing up. We need to be able to get up and down off the floor. We need to be able to put things in cupboards over our heads, put 50-pound Christmas ornament bins up in the rafters. You should have,
Got
they make machines for that. They also make like storage systems for that, so you don't have to work as hard. But realistically, like how strong do you need to be, right? How fit do you need to be? Realistically, it would be probably serve us better if we stayed healthier longer and were able to do like we had a fitness surplus of 150% of our activities of daily living needs, not 600% of that, right?
So you're saying that being generally fit is probably more useful to us than being able to deadlift a lot.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I will never pick anything up off the ground that's 500 pounds. And if I'm in a situation like that,
You're
it's,
dead.
there's a big problem. Like something drastically, like something I could never have prepared for regardless has happened, and it's an emergency. Hopefully there's other people around, but realistically, like being able to deadlift 400 pounds, even deadlift 315 pounds, right, is more strength than I'll ever need my entire life. And yes, as we age, we need to think about, basically you have two things that kind of determine the quality of life as we age. You have your cardiovascular fitness, which essentially determines the expiration date,
Mm-hmm.
assuming that we are living as healthily as we possibly can. And then you have your strength, power, specifically lean muscle mass, muscle tissue, that determines your capacity and capabilities during that, up until that time. So essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to build strength, power, fight off the decline of those things until the day we die. And that's it, right?
Right. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to live and not get hurt. But meanwhile, you do want to, try to, I don't need to deadlift 300 pounds. 200 pounds is enough. I don't need to try to push my body to the brink of destruction. I don't want to do that.
Basically, what I was trying to say with that is like, sure, it's fun hitting, doing a strength program and hitting PRs and things like that. But like, that's like a third, there's like levels of adaptation that like beyond that, you're just doing it for the sake of doing the sport or that skill at getting better at that skill, right? It doesn't translate into your everyday life. Like 400 pounds plus deadlift for a man doesn't translate to any more capable, successful, content,
Health.
grateful life. It's not improving your general health
Mhm.
at all. You're just stronger. You get to say
Well-
you have a bigger deadlift,
What if people are chasing something else to make them happy?
which
Not
which
health.
is up to them. And that's fair and that's fine if that's their goal. But my goal for the members and for myself and for people that are connected to me is it's not that. I want people to have as balanced a life as possible and like in every facet of it, right? In your sleeping, in your nutrition, in your training, in your recovery, your mindset, and your relationships. It's all about balance. That's the best like circumstance. Because
I
once
think-
you start specializing somewhere, you start to give up something else. And beyond the I don't remember what that kind of graph is called, but basically when you start reaching one direction, you have to sacrifice something else. I don't want to sacrifice, and I don't want anyone else to sacrifice anything that they have.
I think this particular message is better received as a generalization by women than by men. Because,
How many men are on this call?
yeah.
No.
But also like the idea of chasing, I lifted the most, I want a bigger, even like at some stage, like you say, okay, whether you can back squat 300 pounds or whether you can back squat 320 pounds, like, does that matter for your general health? Probably not. But like, sometimes people are chasing that instead of maybe chasing better mobility or better movement pattern, but maybe not lifting as much. So I've observed in the many years that women generally are more open to the message that you're conveying.
There's not, I guess, nothing inherently wrong with that, pushing yourself and trying to achieve more than you have. But it's like the point is try to bring everything up. So if you start to dive into like, I need to 150% of my daily calories and protein so I can add as much weight to my body as I possibly can to get as strong as fast as I possibly can. That's not okay. But like, if you are like every single one of these little check boxes you've checked off, and you're like, what's next? Trying to get better at things is part of the spice of life. It's important, right? It's important to keep pushing forward because if you don't, especially who's on this call, Jenny is the youngest person here. She's not quite there, but she's getting close. We are all kind of like starting to see the top of that ridge, right? And so we're essentially fighting that. And so if we're not actively trying to push the other direction, we're going to decline. We talked about this today, Steph. You're going to start declining more in a more accelerated pace if you're not actively fighting it. And actively fighting kind of means reaching a little bit for a little bit more than you've done in the past.
Oh, no, and like it depends on, but I think so I'm guilty of this in the past, hopefully not anymore. But like when you're good at something, so something that you, like everybody is better at one thing or another in the gym, or they have a weakness in the gym and it's unique to each person. When you kind of get like attracted to the thing that's easy for you or you're naturally better at, and you focus on like, I want to deadlift a lot because I like deadlifting and I'm good at it. It's not that hard for me compared to other things. Then it comes at the expense of like, I want to choose deadlifting and go hard on those days I'm really sore. So when we have gymnastics the next day and we're working on skill, I'm like, I don't really want to do that because it's really hard. I don't like scaling because it's boring. And like, so then you get in this thing where you start focusing more and more on the things you're already better at, and you move farther away from the things that maybe you could learn more from and apply. Like the challenge is kind of crappy sometimes, but then what else? Like it's sort of fun to focus on things that you are not as good at because then it's more rewarding. The type of improvement you see is slower, but Like they're like not just get stuck in the things that you
Well,
think that you're better at.
Arguably, it's faster because you're less good at those things and there's more room to improve quicker, arguably. But yes, no one likes to do the things they don't want to do, right? No one wants to do them. If you're a powerlifter, you don't want to do a 60-minute zone 2 cardio session. Should you though? Yeah, it would probably improve your powerlifting significantly instead of hitting that 15th set of tricep extensions, right? So like it's all about balance, and not to say that we've figured out the perfect balance, but I think I've come full circle. I used to not talk trash about, but like kind of talk down CrossFit, like CrossFit, GPP CrossFit. I used to talk down on it a little bit. I'm like, oh, I actually think it is like one of the best things you can possibly do for improving your physical capacity in your everyday life and in setting you up to experience your everyday life. Because we do so many different things. Yeah, you're not going to be good at certain stuff. Oh, well, right? That's why you keep coming and you get coached for it. It's hard. I get that it's hard and frustrating when you've been doing something for 10 years and you still don't get it. Right? I get that. But that's kind of the point. Like there's still more room for you to grow. Whereas if you just stop or you give up or you start specializing in powerlifting or Olympic weightlifting, you start to start to develop some serious holes in your general fitness and health. And that will eventually lead to problems further down the road.
I appreciate this conversation because I don't know sometimes when I should test or train versus practice. My question for you is, are you guys as coaches? Because I mean, that's where I'm going to get my activity. I mean, I do walk my dogs, but I come to the gym 5 days a week, usually 4 or 5 times a week. And that's where I'm there for an hour. I'm there to work out hard. That's what I do. Are you guys in tune with like, this is a train day, this is a 60, this is a 30 day, this is a 10 day? Like, is that something that you guys talk about, or are you guys?
No, we don't really talk about that. Yes, we're sort of in tune with it in the sense that like,
But you are, because sometimes you say, this could be a training day for you, or this could be a PR day for you. It depends on where you are or what you're doing at that
but
time.
we don't talk about it as coaches and staff. We kind of, because every class is going to be a little bit different. The makeup of the class is going to be a little bit different. It's hard to plan for that kind of stuff. This is one of the drawbacks of GPP programming and not having like a very plain, structured, periodized program that you're going to follow. It makes it difficult to say, okay, this is your 3rd week of Wendler. This is your 1+ day for back squat. You're supposed to go and get after it today. Like that's a very planned day versus most of the time in GPP programming, it's a little bit up to how many days you came in that week. What are you doing tomorrow? How did you sleep? Like it's a little bit more on the athlete to kind of figure that kind of stuff out. Which kind of sucks. General physical preparedness. That's basically what in most of the research, that's what it's referred to as.
Can that?
Well,
Oh, sorry.
is that what we use then? Is that
Yeah,
or-
CrossFit sort of coined that term. GPP.
general what preparedness?
Physical preparedness.
Be ready to do anything at any point.
Okay.
But Kim, like we just have clean and jerks and like heavy singles this week or something, or like on a day when we have find your 1 rep max lift, there, like I may come in and be like, I'm not in the mood to 1 rep maxes because I don't really feel like going all out at 5:15 in the morning on a day I slept like crap. So I'll come in and I won't, it's a 1, I'm doing singles, but I'm probably doing like 80%. I'm like not getting anywhere near my 100% or even less. And I'll say, I'm going to practice working on the jerk today. And so even though the class says one on the board, I'm not trying to hit my heaviest one for the day.
Yeah, that's a great example. Because everyone's schedule is going to be different. Everyone's life outside of the gym is different. You might be Baldino coming off of a 36-hour fast um, and like have nothing in the tank for you to do 2019.1, 19 minutes of wall balls, 19 minutes of burpees, or 19 minutes of calories of rowing, right? That just might not be the day that you just end your like empty the tank, sell your soul for it, right? You might just kind of move through it. So it's kind of depends on everybody every day. Unfortunately, it's not really possible. In fact, actually, let's go the other way. Every single training session could be written as a testing session.
Yeah.
It's kind of written that way. And then from there, you as the athlete, we as the coaches kind of like bring people down from that. Because then there is the opportunity for that, and you can always make the decision not to do it. But if it's the other way around, it might feel weird, like it might not work as well.
Okay.
Another thing, Kim, is like when you like whatever the, like, let's say like more like a traditional CrossFit workout that has combinations of movements. If you look at it and it's like a workout you've done before, or they're all movements you know how to do, and you're like, I could do pull-ups, I could do air squats, I could do push-ups, I'm cool. Then it's like, do you want to go so hard that you're like everything hurts, or you want to just like see like, oh, I want to see if I can do 3 pull-ups in a row and do it consistently throughout the whole workout. So figuring out for you, like, what are you going to get out of that workout, where like somebody may not even be able to do 1 pull-up that day and they're scaling with a band or they're scaling with jumping pull-ups. So like their workout is going to be different, and what they're getting out of it, where like whether it's a practice or like you may be training that day, but you're training. Would that be training, Will, if you're like trying to see if you can do 3 reps in a row and not fall apart, or is that
Yeah,
practice?
that's kind of training.
So like being more looking at the workout when you come in and saying, what am I going to get out of this? Like, what am I going to do today to help myself, given how I feel, given what I'm doing tomorrow? Like if you're doing the open on Friday and it's Thursday, maybe you don't haul ASS on something and like make your body really sore, and then you're kind of like tired to do the open the next day if you care about the open.
Yeah, and that's a good, and Chris is probably the best. By Nami, Chris is probably the best at kind of that stuff in terms of like she's good at finding ways to make people do things that they think they've got down and show them, okay, well, fine, you think you can do, you've got 50 single chest to bar pull-ups. You guarantee you could do it. Well, you got to do 25 doubles. Like something like that. She'll find ways. I try to do that, but I'm not as good as her at that. She'll find ways to make it essentially, even though you're doing the exact same workout on the board, it's a different workout. And so you're not necessarily competing anymore because you're not working, you're not trying to finish the workout for time or do the most reps or move the most weight. You have some other specific goal that theoretically is your score for that day. Were you successful? Were you able to keep your triple pull-ups looking super gymnastic the entire time? Right? There's ways to kind of slow down that intensity. It's still intense. It's just intense in a different way.
For like Chris even did so there was a date we had like pistols on a Friday and then pistols on a Monday, like very close together. And so one of the days, I think the scales were even different too. For like if you did both days, the scale for pistols weren't the same each of the 2 days. And like I'm not great at them and I have to hold my foot. So one day I held my foot and was doing them that way. The next day I come in and she says, today we're working on balance. You're not holding your foot. So do what you need to do to get these done without holding your foot. And I said, I can't do that. And she said, well, figure it out today and you're not holding your foot. So even though like technically I could have held my foot to do the movement, she said, I don't care how many you do, just don't do one without holding your foot.
Mm-hmm.
That's like semi-practice, semi-training. And realistically, like that will keep you healthier longer. Like that kind of style. Like it's not about like maximum intensity every single training session. You just you can't, your body can't do it. You can't
And
handle it.
Not about the score either. Like if I said, well, I can't even do them, I'm like falling over and I'm not getting as many reps in if I'm doing not, who cares? Like it doesn't matter that you didn't get as high as a score as you could have if you held your foot. Like you're practicing something different and a different way to do it. You'll never learn to do it that way if you never try it.
Right. Like it's just like not dropping barbells. Sometimes it's like for real though, it's like
Yeah. You don't need to go that heavy that you can't control the barbell down.
you can't control the bar. You don't deserve to use that barbell. Like Mike Latch used to make people catch their last wall ball. If you can't keep your brain turned on, like that's a problem. Like it's a safety problem at that point. Like if that person is then moving on to a barbell and just throwing, like ghost riding it from over the head and it bounces into somebody else, right? There's a problem there. That's not, for the most part, that's not why we do that. It's like, it's just another way to kind of challenge the workout beyond just what's on paper. So we got to wrap this up. So next one is going to be and we can talk about this more in person, and there's only 5 of you here or 6 of you here. So focused prehab. So this is some of these things kind of dip into the recovery bucket a little bit as well, but I put this here because I think that, and it's a good little piggyback on what we were just kind of talking about. Let's say Cindy. Let's use Cindy Liberty as an example. Realistically, priority number 1 for her is getting her to be able to get into a squat. And that is actually adds a significant amount of intensity to any workout that has squatting in it, for example. So yes, we could let her essentially hinge every one of her weighted squats, but she will get more out of it if she does focused prehab, like wall squats and upright squats where you're pulling yourself nice and tall, like instead of or outside of the class setting where who was doing something recently? Oh, I've got a bunch of people who are complaining about their knees, like taking care of your bodies before a problem becomes an actual problem and has to get surgery, for example, like Anthony Baldino, right? That's more towards the training. That's a training thing, both in terms of like being responsible in the when you're using the thing, but also preparing it for movement and recovering from that movement in that training session. So crossover symmetry, the hip circle stuff to warm up your hip and your butt and your glutes, or your hips and your butt. Like a lot of this other stuff that like kind of doesn't seem like it's working out. We should be doing more of that stuff so that we won't actually have to do rehab. We just stay healthy. That's kind of the goal.
You mean doing those things outside of when we come to gym class?
Well, outside of, but in addition, most of the warm-ups have some amount of focused prehab. And if you know you specifically have an issue that you need, like for example, who's got a shoulder thing going on right now?
Me.
Kim.
You do?
Kim does. Yeah. So let's use Kim as an example. So instead of maybe participating in all of the class warm-up or a foot or knee or ankle thing, you do your specific, you talk to the coach, say, hey, I know we're doing this today. Can I do this off to the side a little bit? Because I know that this little sequence of stuff helps this feel a little bit better. And then maybe they'll say, yeah, we're going to do some of that in the warm-up, or yeah, go do that on your own. Like preparing for stuff that you specifically need your own personalized attention to is important.
I have crossover symmetry right on my wall right there, and I never use it. Yes.
I can see mine too. It's wedged between the couch and the railing.
You can
But-
bring him to the gym and just
Carson
leave
broke
him.
them. Broke
Oh.
one, the 8-pound one. But also if you're in a gym class and that morning, if you just like at 5:15, if you don't happen to feel warm to do what you're about to do, I'll just keep warming up or something. Like if I don't feel ready, I don't start if I don't feel ready.
Yeah, like, yes, the class, we want everyone to be together, but like, at the same time, we're there for you and you're there to get the most out of that session that you can. If you need more warm-up time, for example, you should tell the coach, hey, I need a little bit more, and then go start taking care of that.
What's a
Good.
hip circle good for? Like,
Warming
Oh.
up your butt and your side hips.
I
Yeah,
couldn't
like,
use it on my knee then.
well, no,
Right.
it might actually help your knee, to be honest. So there's, this is maybe a little bit beyond the scope of this discussion, but basically, like, if your hip or ankle, for example, are not working correctly, your knee is essentially the garbage disposal for that poor movement. So like if your butt is not firing on one side, like my left butt doesn't work. And so it throws a bunch of work into my knee, and that's why that knee got messed up and still continues to bug me every once in a while. So like if I had been doing a better job of warming up and then like specifically addressing my left butt, maybe my knee never would have blown up. So I don't know.
I have one of those too. Should use them. Thank
You
you.
I was doing fire hydrants at home to help my hip be a little bit more mobile, but I think it helped my knee too, because and I think it did help it. So something connected there, and it did do something.
And all of the, basically anything that they do for physical therapy as a rehab exercise, that's what I'm talking about, focused rehab. So if you've got an ankle or a foot thing, the stuff they do in PT for that should be pre-hab for you. If you know you've got a little bit of something coming on, like a little hot spot in the bottom of your heel or something like that, or the bet, like your Achilles or your calf behind your knee, underneath your knee, like you can just look up, I have this pain, and then physical therapy exercises, and that's what you should be doing before it actually becomes a real problem.
Great.
And then how many days were you active is kind of your check mark here. On the bottom here, listen, chasing excellence is kind of my, like, what Ben Bergeron and chasing excellence is one of the things that kind of like actually started moving me down this more responsible training road. And thinking about more than just exercise. And this book, Built to Move by Kelly Starrett, he's like a physical therapist that he's one of the people that has been around since like the inception of CrossFit. He was like the guy in terms of, I'm sure you've all seen him or heard him. He's essentially the guy who invented or popularized the voodoo floss bands and the lacrosse balls and the banded hip distractions. That's him. And so he's kind of along the lines of this like more responsible training mindset. Like we don't need to be doing, especially as we age. Sure, if you're training for it as a sport, right? You can be up here more of the time, but you look at the kids, actually, look at the women over the past few years that have basically quit because they're just talking about how much they're in pain all the time and breaking down and like, anyway. So Squat University, Catalyst Athletics, all these things are really cool things to follow. They always put out really cool information. And the further action is kind of along those lines as well. That was a long one.
So I agree with everything you say. Like I had the mindset that, you know what, I just need to do a workout. I want to feel better after, like the workout, and that's it. But I feel like the more you do CrossFit, there is a little of pressure to go heavier. Or like maybe I'm sensing it because I feel like there's maybe a competitiveness, you know?
Do you
And I'm
feel
always
that
afraid to go, yeah.
among your, well, like when you're in a class, if there's other people around you that are doing a certain weight, you feel
I
like
think
if you,
that's natural. That's everybody, right? Like when there are other people that are doing more than you want to do just as, you know, as good. But at the same time, like I shouldn't really do that because I know my capabilities and I'm not as strong, you know? But there is that element of like competitiveness or you feel sense of pressure to go heavier.
Okay, so couple things buried in there. Number one, I've talked about this actually kind of a lot lately. I've talked about this kind of like bell curve where there's a level of challenge, let's call it, that's not enough, you won't learn from it. It won't resist you enough. Let's just use weightlifting because it's a very simple way to talk about it. There's a weight that like up until that point, it's almost like you can fake it. You're not really learning what you're supposed to be learning from that movement. And then there's this little like kind of like the top and then starting to decline on the other side of the bell curve. That's like the sweet spot where you're challenging yourself enough that it's like it's hard, but you're still also you're kind of in control still. And then there's a threshold where you move past that and then you're not really getting what we need you to get out of that. That's difficult to know. And that's the coach's job. That's also your job. And then it's somewhat of it's kind of an exploration thing. Now I'm going to use the workout for this morning as an example. Do you think you should have been doing those weights that Katie did?
Probably not.
I disagree. And so here's why I say that. I think especially women tend to be a lot more conservative, reserved, timid with what they think they're capable of. So part of what you're there for is to challenge yourself in a way that you've never been challenged before. And if you're always kind of sitting in the I know I can do this realm, yes, it's responsible training, but not always. 10% of the time, you need to be a little bit nervous, a little bit afraid, a little bit uncertain. And then 30% of the time, it should be hard, but not like, I don't know. And then 60 or so percent of the time, it's like, okay, I'm practicing the movement, blah, 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 blah. So it's hard. Basically, me and Melissa were talking about this yesterday. The reason why I think CrossFit, one of the biggest drawbacks to CrossFit is that it's fun, it's new, it's exciting. And you, especially when you're starting, it's just like PR, PR, PR. I'm getting super excited about trying to improve. I just want more. I want more. I want more. Eventually that slows down and you still want that and you still expect that and you think that that's what it's supposed to be about. And that's typically where people run into trouble, actually. Like, depends on how consistently they're coming, but like 1 to 2 years, like when it starts to slow down quite a bit, that's where people start to get into trouble. So I don't necessarily agree, but I don't disagree with what you said.
Lena, you're so much stronger than you think you are. That's what I see.
Oh, thanks, Kim.
In class with me, I'm like, oh my gosh, put some weight on that bar sheet. That's move it so easily. But I mean, I don't mean to peer pressure you either. So sorry if I've
No, I know.
Yeah,
I know,
it's
but
hard, right? Because the coach might be, that your friends around you might be, you and your brain might be like, I gotta try, I gotta go for it, you know? And like, unfortunately, it depends on how close you are to your like that threshold, that line. But it unfortunately takes a few, not for everybody. Some people have never ever experienced this, but every once in a while, you step over that line and it was too far over the line. You end up with something going wrong. And you unfortunately a lot of the times don't see that or don't know that line until you've got there. That's one of this particular style of training, that's one of the problems with it. It is, there's too much. The freedom to get there is a little too high.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mean with like overtraining or taking a risk?
Risky training. Cause it's exciting, right? Like you're in the middle of a class setting and like that person just next to you just PR'd and like, let's go, like that kind of attitude. Or for example, let's just use weightlifting, continue to use weightlifting. And so you try something that maybe the lift right before it was perfect and you added 5 pounds. And if you just lifted the weight the exact same way, it would have flown up. But something is different about that lift and it's just like kind of goes wrong. And maybe it pushed you a little bit too far. That's our job to not let that happen. But it still unfortunately does.
All
Also,
right.
to not get disappointed if you were able to do something a year ago and you can't do it today.
Yeah.
Nina's not there. She's still on that fast track up.
Yeah, she
But
is.
eventually she won't be. Eventually she'll start to slow down because she's actually getting close to what she is capable of. And yeah, you got to kind of, I'm never going to hit another, I probably will never PR my back squat again, my deadlift again. For some reason, my bench press just keeps going up for no freaking reason. Snatch and clean and jerk, probably never hit another PR.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I was on the CrossFit Open entering my score and I looked at my profile and I'm like, oh, those are not accurate anymore. Whatever I put in there years ago, I should really adjust that because that's like not true anymore. Yeah.
They didn't say how old that information is.
I guess, right? Yeah. I've peaked. You haven't peaked yet, Lena. You're on your way up. All right.
It's not necessarily true that you've peaked. It's just, it's going to take a lot. It depends on how much you want to invest, how much time in the gym and outside of the gym you want to invest into trying to improve those metrics.
Yeah.
Me and Boitos were just talking about this. What's funny about using measurements and metrics is once you start using that metric to predict an outcome, it no longer, and you're training to improve that metric, it no longer as accurately predicts the outcome that you originally found the correlation to. I forget the phenomenon that's called, but like the 10,000 steps a day thing, it wasn't people actively trying to get 10,000 steps a day that had better health markers. A reason why they had better health markers, they already were doing it. So the research basically said, oh, these people are doing 10,000 steps a day, so we all should be doing 10,000 steps a day. Well, now we're like, that's the focus, not the actual better health outcomes, right? And like, you see this all, I hear this association all the time in like, I don't know why I'm listening to a bunch of business and stock trading books right now, but they talk about that, like this metric used to be correlated to this. So let's try and improve this metric, like a sales metric, for example. I'm following the script and I'm making twice as many phone calls as I used to per day. And our sales numbers are dropping, for example. Why is that happening? We're doing all the things right that we said that made us more successful before. Well, it's because you're not actually even talking to the person. You're just following the script and not listening to what that other person's saying back to you. You're not creating relationships. So you're like, then your sales are suffering because the things that were working because they were aside from developing the relationship with that customer, for example. So anyway, that's an aside. I forgot why I brought that up. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I think we're done.
Thank you so much for this. I appreciate it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just good. Thank you guys.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.